Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brandon Shank, and welcome to the Brandon Shank Podcast. What's up, everybody? We got to start today's show off by being honest. It's not cookie day here. It's not. Listen, this is spring break in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
And so we had to record this a little earlier than our typical Wednesdays. So if something crazy is to happen, then, we
don't know about it.
Well, we didn't know about it then. But what day is this? If you can get within the hour, maybe we'll send you a little something
Within
special.
the
What
hour?
day,
Ooh.
what time, where are we shooting? Well, don't do the where. I mean, that's the same place. But what day, what time? Maybe if you get within an hour, we'll send you a little something.
I like it.
Corey will send you something. Maybe keys to your Jeep.
Keys to my Jeep.
Maybe.
I don't know
It's not
about
cookie
that.
day, but it is business breakfast day here.
It was.
I had cheese Danish. It was
Such a
awesome. And I don't eat
surprise.
cheese Danishes, but for whatever reason, that thing hit.
It was delicious.
It did.
And I had a chocolate muffin. I tried to make it as close to cookie day as I could.
Hey, listen, think about something about your week that you want to tell everybody. I got something I want to tell everybody.
Okay.
My in-laws just came back from Germany. They were there for like 2 weeks. My sister-in-law lives there. They brought back a tower of chocolate, different types of chocolate. Dude, it's amazing.
Okay.
Like, they know what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
But I can't understand any of the wrappers. So it's all written in German.
It's a guessing game.
So I have no idea about the caloric intake. So I have felt so stress-free.
You mean to tell me there's
amazing.
There's no opposite side to the lid to the box that perfectly describes.
I haven't looked at that hard, but I have looked, and it's all in German. Now, I could write it in. I could type something in and figure out how it translates. I don't want to do that.
That sounds like...
I have felt like it's been stress-free chocolate eating for an entire week. It's been amazing. Do chocolate with hazelnuts, white chocolate with hazelnuts, chocolate with almonds, regular milk chocolate, dark chocolate, chocolate with peppermint, chocolate with strawberries.
But you like it all, right?
I'm not a discriminatory chocolate
So
eater.
for you, for me, I'm definitely the person that doesn't know. I'm gently biting into it to see what's...
No, they have a picture. So on the front, there's a picture. It's a block, and you have the picture, but I don't know how many calories is in each piece.
Oh, so you're just thinking...
I'm not thinking about what... No, they have a picture of what's in it.
Gotcha.
So like the one, it's like chocolate with strawberry, but it's like the dehydrated strawberry. Like you would get it like...
I see where you're going with this.
The Air and Space Museum. You ever get this, you ever get the space chocolate or the space ice cream? It's like dehydrated. It's like that's what's in the middle of it.
But then they have the ice cream. No.
They have one with cornflakes, which is basically just like crunch, a crunch bar.
Oh,
so I know what's on it. They got a picture.
Oh, okay.
Beautifully done.
Gotcha.
And the wrappers they're so smart. You open the wrapper the way that it is, and it's like a little bag. The wrapper opens. It's like a square, a cube, and your wrapper opens, and you break little pieces. It's like a little bag.
Oh wow!
Genius.
I mean, it's German engineering.
It really is. Really is. So what about you, man? What do you got? What's been going on this week? Tell us something that is maybe changing your life.
This week that is changing my life? Goodness. I don't know, dude. My life feels like lots of baseball. Just lots of baseball.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before we came on.
Like assistant coaching both of my kids' teams. And so I'm at the ball field probably 4 to 5 nights a week. So, which is fun. I love it. I love every second of it.
Great.
And so basically my life is being changed by baseball.
Yeah, and listen, if you're not from Virginia Beach, let's go ahead and send out the alarm. This is a baseball city.
Oh, yeah.
The Tidewater down here, and we got Hall of Famers that came out of our Little League. Like, baseball in Virginia Beach is king. Now, people that play soccer would argue with that. Football would argue with that. Because, I mean, you got D1 football players coming out of all these high schools. So we're not saying that other sports... football down here is massive,
Yeah.
But I'm saying baseball is... There's... Let me see. 10U travel teams. I think there's 28 just in Virginia Beach.
Jeez. Yeah.
Just in the city of Virginia Beach.
Mm-hmm.
There's 28.
And such a cool culture.
Great culture.
Around it. Yeah.
Great culture.
Feels like family.
Well, last week we had a doubleheader after church. I go from church to the doubleheader, and our pups organization was playing at our Little League. And so the one is on the 46, 60, 65 field. The other one is on the 50, 70 field. And so basically the intermediate minor fields. And there's hundreds of people there. The parking lots are packed.
Yeah.
Just loud. I mean, it sounded like you were at a golf tournament because you'd hear like in the distance people roaring. I was like, I hope that's pups. People say, why pups? Well, the reason we called it pups, we just started this year. Our organization is the reason we called it pups is because we have a lot of military Navy SEAL families, and so their kids, they call them the pups. So we call them the pups, Virginia Beach pups. It's a way to honor our SEAL community and all those who fought for our freedoms in Virginia Beach. This is a military city. I mean, 35%, I think, of the city is military. We have Our Dev Gru, our SEAL teams, and we have all our fighter pilots and all of our great sailors. We have Coast Guard here. I mean, you got a little bit of everything. You got some Army, Marine. You got a little bit of everything here, but a big Navy. So yeah, but baseball is supreme. It is dominant down here, and they produce a ton of talent too. We got Chris Taylor for the Dodgers. He came out of Virginia Beach.
Nice.
We have guys all over, that are out of Virginia Beach that played in these high schools that are in the pros right now. The Upton brothers, David Wright, Hall of Famer, came out of the Tidewater area. Michael Kadyr's here. He runs a travel team. He came out of this area. Ryan Zimmerman, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He came out of our little league. They're all over.
That's cool.
They're all down here. So represent 757. Let's go, baby.
Woo!
Hey, so I have something that has been bothering me, and it's then or than. So I'm in the final stretch of my doctorate program.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what it's my doctoral program. The focus is it's a doctorate of ministry with a focus on exegetical preaching and teaching. And the reason I say that is because you would think somebody that's focused on exegetical preaching and teaching that grammar wouldn't be a problem, but it is. I'm on the home stretch, and thank God for spell check and Grammarly. Then or than, right? So I have to look this up almost daily because
Really?
It's one of those things I just can't get in my mind. Okay. Then is meaning at that time.
Yeah.
And is used to talk about when things will happen. Then is used to compare things.
Yeah.
Well, you say it like it's just normal.
Well,
you get it? You
it
know
is
this?
normal, yeah.
See? It's just, I can never get this right. So I'm going to ask everybody on here, would you pray for me today? Because I know I'm going to have to spell check this at some point.
How do you get it wrong? Like give me an example of how this war within your mind goes.
Corey walked down the stairs, then fell. I'm like, then fell or then fell? Then he fell or then he fell?
Then.
Yeah.
Then he fell.
But both feel so right to me. Both feel right now as I say it. They feel so right to me. They feel so right.
Are you comparing how I fell?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying, bro. This is a problem for me. And even when I write it and it's right, it doesn't feel right.
This is like a cool peer into your mind.
I can't wait until I'm done with this program. I will never write those words again. I'm going to get a ghostwriter.
Then I will go.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a ghostwriter, bro. I'm done. I'm done with this. So look, I'm gonna go. Let's talk about a couple of memes that I saw. One, this is hilarious. I saw this meme, and it's how it says like anyone, you look nice today. It says me.
Oh yeah.
My anxiety.
Yeah.
They're making fun of you.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah.
I was like, man, guilty. You ever felt like that? Guilty. I saw this one. So it says Magic Mike grossed 167 million. You know Magic Mike?
Yeah.
If you still think girls like dad's bod, if you still think girls like dad buds, keep dreaming, pal. It says response was Shrek grossed 484 million. Just so we're clear, dad bod for the win.
Yes. Oh man. I feel extreme validation right now at this point because I feel like, look, for those that are just listening, I am 6'7" and 295 pounds. But anyway, we have these meetings at work, and you have to pull up this camera. And it's like this, in Zoom or whatever, Google Meet or whatever. And I constantly just look at myself in that camera and being like, I look like Shrek. I'm so much bigger than everyone else in the room. That's hilarious. And so that's what goes on in my mind. Yeah. Well, hey. But now you validate me. So.
484, baby. 484 million. That's not a bad number.
Yep.
All right. Major mental health shift. Learning to see a difficult or challenging person as your teacher, not your enemy. Come on, somebody.
That's good.
It is good. That's what I'm saying.
You're about ready to preach. Man.
Oh, don't get me started. No, yeah. I mean, that's good because I heard T.D. Jakes said it once. He said, you grow in leadership when the people who are in it for themselves, you learn how to lead and you can use them for the best interest of the organization.
Yeah, that's good.
I was like, wow. You always say, well, they have a bad heart and you protect yourself from it as a leader.
Yeah.
But he's saying people who are self-interested, if you can learn how to lead those people, and use them for the best of the organization, it'll grow them too. And you're not using them, but you're developing them even though they're in it for themselves. He said that's when you know you've gained a level of leadership and you're secure in your leadership.
Wow.
It's good.
That's really good.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
So you asked for it. Let's get it, baby.
Oh, my goodness. I wasn't even ready for it.
Well, here we go. Cue it up.
All right.
You asked for it.
I know. Let's
go.
All right. Here we go.
Don't blame me. You asked for it.
All right, James from VB is back. No, it ain't. That's another one. Oh, no, it is. It is. Here it is. James from VB, he's back. This is the one that we had to correct ourselves.
The DC Defenders? Yeah.
James, what's up, James?
Great movie.
Tell James what's up, man.
Great movie. What's up, James? I love DC Defenders movie.
James said, what are some of the go-to dinner options at the Shank household? All right. Well, it depends on who's cooking. During baseball season, it's, we try to make big meals that can run for a little while.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the favorite. Anything I make on the smoker, my family loves.
Oh.
Like we made hamburgers, hot dogs this week. I'm a big white meat eater, so I don't eat a lot of red meat.
Okay.
Not that I don't like it, I just don't eat a lot of it.
Gotcha.
So we eat a ton of chicken. My kids get sick of chicken. Chicken. We make turkey. We make chili with turkey. We make taco soup with turkey. Like we make a lot of healthy. We're big on we don't eat a lot of fried stuff. So I'm big on white meat because it's just I try to stay as clean as I can with it. But yeah, man, I mean, during this time of year, it's stuff on the smoker. It's not, I have one of the smokers that can be a grill too. So I just turn it up. It's all Bluetooth. So it ain't really, I'm not that good at it. I just push the button. But the food's good. It's just good. I use a competition blend if you're asking, for the pellets. We do that. My wife has a couple of dishes she likes to make. This one dish she makes, it's got curry. It's called chicken divan. It's amazing. It's like a chicken and you put it over rice and it's got kind of a sauce that goes with it. It's more of a curry base, which is amazing. But yeah, so it's kind of all over the place. We don't eat out a ton because we have 4 kids and it costs about $150 to sit down somewhere. Yeah. But honestly, it's busy. Our kids, when they come home, they like to be home. And so a lot of our dinner options are stuff we try to make big vats of food that'll last 2 or 3 days. My kids love meatloaf. My wife makes this meatloaf. It's like a barbecue meatloaf. It's like a turkey base it's got some red meat in it. Yeah. It's big turkey base. And dude, it's delicious. She makes it with Sweet Baby Ray's. Is there any other? No. She makes it with that and it's amazing. So she'll make that and she'll, she does a lot of broiling of vegetables. Mm-hmm. We're big on that, so we always have tons of vegetables and meat and then usually a rice or something. Yeah. But we try to eat pretty good, try to make stuff that can make a run throughout the week. So a one-stop shop dinner just seems like a waste to us because we got too many kids and too much going on. So
do you have a go-to meal?
Not really. Okay. Honestly, there's not hey, let's just do that tonight. We don't. Is that what he was asking?
Oh, I don't know. I was asking.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. We don't have all right, we'll do tacos, but she makes that with turkey meat too. Oh, yeah. A lot of ground turkey. Everybody has taco night. You gotta have taco night. Yeah. But not really. Dude, I have a stew I'll make that we'll get brisket and we'll make it, and then once we'll freeze it, or before we freeze it, we'll just make a stew, and that's one of our favorite things. She'll make homemade bread with it. So, but yeah, we try to, I don't have a ton of time right now to cook dinner, so she tries to do stuff that we can make and kind of run. How about you? You got to go to?
So we literally have something called the Broadwater meal. And my dad made it all the time, and it was delicious. I feel like I've taken on the mantle of making this. So me and my wife, it's flank steak.
I've had it before. I've had the flank steak. It's delicious.
Right? You've had the Broadwater meal, yeah.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Flank steak, mashed potatoes, and corn.
What more you need?
I mean, that's our life, right?
That's your food group right there. Meat, potatoes, and corn.
It's the Broadwater meal.
It's a good meal.
Can't go wrong.
And I've had it. And your flank steak is honestly probably. I don't know if I've had any better. I can't say it's the best only because I don't remember a lot of others, but I can say it's one of the best. Because it was delicious.
I love it.
Yeah, it was delicious. Every bit of it. And flank steak, it's a challenge to keep it moist, I think. Mm-hmm. And you did a great job.
You got to know how long to cook it, for sure.
It was delicious. Yeah. So the man's not lying. If y'all want the Broadwater meal, $1,000 will get it for you.
I like where we're going now.
Yeah. No. Oh, man. All right. So, James, I hope that helps you out, man. For any recipes for the Shank go-to dinners, you can hit up my wife. She'll let you know. I used to cook a ton, all the time, when the kids were little, but then they started playing sports. And I don't,
it takes
me and my wife are ships sailing, passing in the wind. Just give you all an idea. All three, we don't let our kids play till they're 7. So Asher's 6, he ain't there yet. But 3 kids had rec ball on Saturday. We had 2 doubleheaders on Sunday, 10U and 12U. 2 of my kids played Monday. All 3 played. I mean, what's the chances? And then my rec team played again on Tuesday. And then it's just we have practice and games, like you were saying, every night. I don't get to see them. I have seen one of Makai's games, one of Ryland's games. And I'm coaching travel and cadence. And it's I love it.
Yeah.
And we're building a great program here in Virginia Beach. So bring it on, baby. Let's
Bring it.
go. And my kids are loving it. So get to spend time. Never have you heard a parent say, I wish I would have spent less time with my kids and more time doing something else.
Oh yeah.
I got time. It's a timer. As soon as that timer's up,
Yeah.
I'm selling my house and moving to the Caribbean.
There you go.
We'll shoot this from the Caribbean, Corey.
I love it.
No. So Rochelle from Virginia Beach said, what up, Rochelle? What are the best tools you have that keep you aware of self as well as consistent in healing, walking out your faith in your marriage, etc.? I'm going to let Corey take this one too. Corey and I have both walked through significant healing in things in our life. We've been I don't want to say in and out like it's been a recurring problem, but it's been a growth process over years for me where I've been in many levels of counseling, which have been great. So Rochelle, I think a couple of things. I'll say this. One, I would say get counseling. I think people think counseling is a last stop shop before you go crazy.
Yeah.
Counseling needs to be a place where you can talk to somebody who doesn't know your life, who doesn't see your perspective, who doesn't know your family, who doesn't know your story, and they get a very clean perception of you and help you become self-aware in ways that you aren't.
Yeah.
They see things in a way you can't because they don't see your life the way you picture. You draw them a picture, but they're trained not to listen to that picture, but to listen to you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They do both, but you know what I'm saying. And my counselors, they've been phenomenal. I think counseling is always great. And it's not a thing of, well, I'm sick. I think everybody should go to counseling at some point in their life for a season.
That's good.
Because I think it just helps you see what you can't. I think there's some people that need encouraged, that people around you will encourage you, but the validity coming from a counselor of what they really see in you, there's something different because they don't know you. And I would recommend don't let it be somebody that you're having an acquaintance with or a friend with. Let it be someone that they're a counselor and that's it. Because that's what you need.
Yeah.
You don't need a friend. You need a counselor. The Bible talks about, surround yourself with counselors. And I know that word can mean friends, but a counselor, somebody who can pour into your life. It's not meaning, I know, a psychological counselor. I get that. But there's validity in having a counselor in your life. I had them for years. I had different ones at different stages. And when I got through a healing process, I'd go to a different counselor. I don't have one currently that I'm going to. It's called my wife. But I've been through years of it, on and off. And I don't feel like for me to go sit down with one right now, could I talk about stuff? Sure. But for me right now, I have one of my best friends, Chad Fisher. He's a pastor in Missouri. Me and Chad are accountability partners. We talk about everything. We talked yesterday. We don't get to talk all the time and super often. He's pastoring he's a thriving church that he just took, and he's done a phenomenal job. And he was actually here this fall. Yeah. We talked yesterday, probably 90 minutes. And we don't get a ton of time together, but when we do, we're each other's accountability. Like, hey man, this is where I'm struggling. This is my heart. So Pastor Chad and I, man, he's just a great guy. And so I think you have to have friends like that too. And he's not a mentor to me. He's a friend. He's a peer. And then I think mentors are overrated. And let me tell you why. I think a lot of times we ask mentors questions that we need to be asking God.
That's good. Yeah.
I think that mentors are great if it's people that have lived life in front of you that you're just leaning on for wisdom. But I think mentors become a problem whenever you go to them, whenever you know God's stirring.
Yeah.
And so I think mentors are great, but I don't value them more than I value a peer relationship. Because my peer relationship with Chad has been more life-giving to me than any relationship I've ever had with anybody else. And that's not saying that mentors haven't been life-giving or that people that I've led haven't been life-giving. I'm saying there is not a relationship that's been more life-giving than the one I have with a peer that's an accountability partner. I confess anything in my life that I know. I don't want it to be hidden in my closet. I want him to. I don't want to have things that are stirring in me, because that's the stuffing method. And then you get into bigger problems. This is just somebody who we trust, and I know that everything is safe, and it's a great relationship. It's a David Jonathan kind of biblical feel is what you almost get with somebody. And I feel like those relationships are so valuable. And I know everybody says that Moses, Joshua. Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt. He had Joshua. I get all that. And he raised him up. But I think for me, God spoke to me a long time ago and says, Brandon, like we always in ministry say, you got to have a pastor, and then you got to pastor somebody and have somebody under you. There's no method. Like, who did Paul have?
Yeah.
Who was going to tell Paul what to do? Now, he had other disciples he talked to. They were peers.
Yeah.
Who did Peter have?
Yeah.
Like, there's people in their life you would say, well, that guy spoke into his life. Yeah, but we have a model right now that I feel like throttles us more than releases us. Yeah, I'm your pastor.
Yeah.
I'm your family's pastor.
Yeah.
We're friends. But there's an authority in my life that God's given me that you've submitted to, but it's made our relationship what it is, and it's great.
Yeah.
Right? We're friends, and we were friends before I was ever your pastor.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But the relationship you need in your life is the one that I provide as a pastor.
Yeah.
Right? More than anything.
Yeah.
But we're still friends. And I'm friends with all the staff. I love these people. We've grinded together. And I think the value of how to be self-aware is, first and foremost, you have to ask people that you give permission to talk into your life.
Yeah.
Like for me, my buddy Chad, he keeps me in check. I ask him very real questions about the podcast and about pastoring and about how I know that I'm not just pastoring. I'm pastoring in every area of my life, but I'm also coaching and I'm also doing a podcast and I'm also, there's things, right? And I have somebody like that and other buddies in my life that some are pastors, some of them are guys that just work with me through Pups Baseball and things that people that are just, they're people that I trust.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that the people that are speaking into my spirit are godly counselors, people who I know. Self-awareness comes from humility.
Yeah.
So that one's easy. It's hard, but it's easy to say what it is. So if you struggle with self-awareness, it's because you struggle with humility. You struggle to see where you're actually at because you're really not humble. You say you want to serve God, and you probably really do. But humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's just thinking of yourself less and putting other people first. And then I think walking out your faith in marriage, I think walking is about never stopping as much as it's just about keep moving. The things that I've put in place, and I said it last week or a couple weeks ago about my wife and I aren't always like wanting to hang out and like, oh, I love her today. No, I love her, but dude, there's times where she gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
And she'll tell you there's times I get on her nerves. Why? Because we're human and I am flawed. And so it might not even be something she's doing that's getting on my nerves. It might not even be something I'm doing that's getting on her nerves. It's just that we're flawed. There's times I get up and I'm irritated, so everybody's getting on my nerves. It's not them, it's me. And what I've realized is when people get on my nerves, it's always my problem. It's my threshold that's been hit, not theirs. Sure, you say, well, they're being annoying. Says who? Like my threshold. You feel me? Like we always validate the way we feel about people because of why we feel it. And I just think that there's something to be said for if you want to walk out your faith and in your marriage, it's about humility. It's about living your life to serve that person, to serve other people. And that's the greatest thing Casey and I have experienced. My wife serves my family and my boys and me. I mean, it creates so much grace in me for her. And you would say, well, does it work like that? Sadly, for me, it does. I wish I had more character and humility to be able to say it was all me. But honestly, the way she serves me keeps my heart. It's such a place of just, because serving is like my love language. Like when somebody serves me, it's like my love language. Hers is physical touch, time. Like that's what Casey loves. But she serves me and my boys so well, just as a human, that I want to do the same for her. And it just keeps me in that place of when she does something that might get on my nerves or make me mad, it's like, bro, who do you think you are? Like this woman is incredible and you need to honor her. And I would say I will speak for her and say she thinks I'm the most amazing thing God ever created. So, but yeah, I think humility and I think self-awareness comes from humility. And if you're struggling in tension in marriage is always, humility is the foundation of everything. So, whether or not you're willing to get help, whether or not you're willing to have those conversations, whether or not you're willing to say, if you won't let your spouse run their race because you're worried about your race, then there's a tension there. Yeah. Because I'll tell you, I tell Casey all the time, I'll carry your Bible around the world and listen to you preach. Like I would give up everything in a moment to be that for her if that's what God asks. Because I just want to be that. I love her and I believe in her. Yeah. So I don't know if you have something you like speaking to that.
I mean, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head for sure. I'm currently going through counseling, and I think it's got to be a willingness to work on yourself. And so much of mine, and I know this isn't everyone's story, but so much of my life has been insecurities of not being good enough. And so I've worked really hard at being good at a lot of things based off my own insecurities. But realizing that a lot of the strife in my marriage and in my home was kind of like things that I would perceive that my wife would say, and I view them as, well, I'm not being good enough and I have to change again and I have to do this again. And through the midst of kind of counseling, God just kind of like hit me on the forehead. And it was like, look, not every area of your life, but the truth is right now in your marriage, you're not good enough. Sit with it. And it just was a smack in my face. And I realized I had to change my perspective, change that lens to, I need to work on myself. And when I work on myself, my marriage will get better.
And how long did it take you to realize you were the problem though? And that's a lot of humility. It takes a lot of breaking to get to the place of humility where you can hear that. Because God knew he could speak to you before, and your response would be, what's her problem?
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, it's a lot of humility.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it too, because I think you nailed it, man. You said the core of of answering what are the best tools you have to keep you aware of self as well as consistent healing, walking out your faith, your marriage. It's focus on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, I have bad self-awareness. So I'll tell you this, Rochelle, I have bad self-awareness because I don't have bad self-awareness in this guy's a jerk and he doesn't recognize it. I have bad self-awareness in I'm Brandon Shank. I'm a dude. I love sports. I love Corey. I love my wife. Like, I'm just that guy. Anybody around you, and I know, like Rochelle, I know Rochelle. I know Rochelle well. You know me, and people know me, and people that know me, and they're like, this dude's chill. Like, he doesn't think anything of himself. Like, he loves God, but he doesn't. I would think you would. And Corey, you have full permission to call me out in front of the world right here. I take myself serious because I know God called me to something, but I'm just not that guy that walks around with like I don't have a chip on my shoulder, not because I claim to be humble. When I'm coaching, I'm quiet until the games are over. Like, I'm not quiet to my team. I never cheer against kids, but I cheer for my team. Yeah. When I'm coaching, like, I'm locked in. Like, if people might think this dude's got a chip, it's like, nah, bro, I'm running out of the tunnel. I'm locked in. I'm thinking about managing anything, about who I want to pitch when. I'm thinking about what happens if this scenario. I'm locked in. Like, I'm not thinking about other coaches and I'm not thinking about umpires. I'm just locked into my team. So people might say, well, that dude's kind of this. Like, I'm just locked in. I'm just not talking to a bunch of people. I'm locked into my team. But actually having a chip on my shoulder, like, I just don't. There's definitely times I struggle with my pride, hands down, like every human. But I think my self-awareness comes from probably not low self-esteem, but just I don't think too much of myself. Like, I don't take myself that serious of like, this dude's doing this or doing this. So one thing I had to do, God had to correct me as a pastor and leading the church of like, your words have authority and you need to really think about how you have conversations. Mm. Yeah. Like, I could say to you, hey, Corey, you know, I've seen this consistently and you get this right. And you might be devastated. Whereas I could have said, hey, man, so tell me about what's going on. Like, how's life going? Yeah. Well, this is what I've noticed. And God was just showing me, like, Brandon, you just can't do that because the weight is different. Like, it carries a heavy weight and it could be devastating. Like, you got to think of a different way to say things. And it wasn't that I was being mean. It was like, you can't just be that. Like, you have bad self-awareness of the authority I've given you. Yeah. You have to lead at a different place now, from a different place of empathy. And it wasn't that my heart changed, but I had to become aware. So I have bad self-awareness when it comes to sometimes God gives you more and you feel like you're just a puppy and he's like, you're a dinosaur. Like, you're big. Yeah. And I don't mean that in a, it's saying like, I've given you more influence than what you even recognize. And that can be detrimental because you don't respect and honor it. And I think as a leader, and to all those that are watching that are pastors or leaders, I think we have a responsibility to know what God's given us and to steward it well. So my recommendation for me has been like, as God's, you know, use me to speak into lives or use our leadership to do things or other churches or whatever it may be, just, I think it's just as negligent. You're holding a 5-pound weight and God's like, but I've given you 100 pounds. You got to be able to carry this and know what it is. Because if you drop it, somebody's gonna get hurt. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. I know I'm rambling a little bit here. I'm trying to get my thoughts across by giving, I know that I don't, a lot of y'all watching, I've never had personal interaction. So I don't have the opportunity to really convey my heart. What I'm trying to say is, I think for me personally, I've struggled in my life with the weight of what God's given me and feeling like, not even that I'm worth it, but just recognizing it. Yeah. And like stewarding it and making sure that the conversations and things are honoring in that.
Well, we were talking about this the other day where you basically said like, you know, realizing, you know, through our conversations, just realizing how personal God is with each of us. And so I think even in our marriages or in our relationships, sometimes we get so caught up in, well, this person and that person and what they did and what they said. And you're 100% right. God is so personal to us that he's trying to speak to us. And, you know, he has this great connection with us. And so it's all about like, I had to learn that it wasn't so much like, God, I wish you would just change this. And God, I wish you would change this. God is like, I'm trying to change you. And if you would pay attention to me, I'm going to work on you. And don't worry about the rest of the other stuff. Like, let me handle that stuff. And so I think that's just been the shift for me is God cares so much about me that, yeah, I want all the circumstances around me to change. But God is like, no, I'm going to change you. And then I'm going to help you change those things, like through me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, a while ago, God said, have you ever thought I'm not speaking all these things to the church, but I'm speaking them to you?
Yeah.
Like, these are over you.
Yeah.
And like, I've always put like a triangle around my heart. And so things God spoke to me, bounced off that one right to the church. Like, I'm the filter. And God's like, no, you're the source. I'm speaking it to you.
Yeah.
You know? And I think, making it that personal relationship, that connection, those are things I've had to learn. You know, and I think as I become more self-aware in my calling and like what God has for me, because people tell you, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a pastor, I'm a coach, like there's all these things. I'm now a podcaster. Like these are all the things that I am. I'm not one thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm Brandon Shank. I'm somebody God made, and like I want to be intimate with him, but like there's a humility that you have to learn in that. And honestly, it's been the hardest lesson. It's not a humility I think we often think of as cocky and arrogant. That's just a cover up for insecurity. Humility is listening to God and whether or not you're okay with what he's speaking, because you should always be okay. I used to be fearful of hearing God because I'm like, I don't want to hear what he has to say. It's like, you know what he's going to say. Yeah. It's good things.
Yeah.
It's love, it's care, it's compassion. There's times he'll correct, but it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's never correction like you would get from a stern parent. It's love you would get that you don't understand why the grace is so much greater than the correction. You know, it's just different, you know, and so yeah, I hope that helps you. I hope that helps you kind of moving forward. I hope all this makes sense to those listening, because I really feel like it makes sense in my heart. Sometimes it's hard to explain things you're still walking through.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where I'm at. I'm learning as God continues to not ask more, but I don't even know that he's giving more. I'm just becoming more aware of what he's already given, that I'm trying to make sure that I am doing the best I can with and reaching as many people as I can, because that's the goal.
Yeah.
You know? So, well, hey, in the news, I thought we have two things we're going to bring back today: mountain lions and tipping, because I'm going to help y'all. Mountain lion, listen, in Colorado, 67 miles west of Denver, they spotted on a Ring camera a mountain lion pack.
What?
Prowling through a Colorado neighborhood.
I didn't even know that existed.
Jokers run deep, baby.
Oh, man.
5 big cats. 5 big cats are seen. It's a good reminder, they said, to take care of pets and small children. So 5 big cats prowling together through a neighborhood.
So now mountain lions have become like wolves,
dude,
and they now roam in packs. What is happening to our world?
I don't know what's going on. I mean, this is unprecedented. First, we get a mountain lion slaps somebody in the head while they're in a hot tub. Now we're getting they're prowling through neighborhoods. I am curious, is there something with the ecosystem that isn't fulfilling its duty, that all of a sudden you're getting all these mountain lions around people?
Yeah.
Like, since when do they want to go through the neighborhood and they want to check into Denver suburbs west? You know, like, since when do they want to check in and hang out there? You know, Canyon Crest, neighborhood. Like,
because most big cats, except for lions, like, don't roll in packs. Like, that just doesn't happen. Yeah, they're very solitary.
Yeah, doesn't happen.
All right.
Well, hey, let me. And one more thing I want to talk about really quickly is this topic that we all know to be true, and it's really ugly. Honestly, my oldest is in 6th grade now. In elementary school, you see it some, but I feel like in middle school, we all try to find ourselves. It's a really weird time anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But there's 2 articles that I read this week on bullying. One was a New Jersey student, 11. She was found dead in a school bathroom after she reported alleged bullying. She had reported it to the school, and the young girl contacted the school several times about being bullied.
Jeez.
Another article I read was about a young man. He was 13. He was a baseball phenom. He's a bigger kid, and he died by suicide. He came home from school and left a video that said, "I hate my life." Now, let me give you context. I coach a 12U team. If you throw in like the high 60s, you're bringing it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Little League World Series, they're throwing like 71, but they're at 46 feet, and we're throwing at 50 feet at 12U. This kid threw 71 at 13. Jeez. So at 13, they didn't go into detail because I'm sure nobody was like, that wasn't the point, but like, I'm guessing he's throwing 60, 90, so he's throwing 60 feet.
Yeah.
He's throwing 71 at 13. Jeez. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, really.
That's unbelievable. He had, in his career, 27 home runs, some that went over 300 feet. More championship trophies than he could count. He was made fun of because of his hair. Came home and said, "Dad, I want a new haircut." His dad said, "Man, we just got you your haircut." He made fun of because of his shoes, so he went and bought a $150 pair of Air Maxes, got made fun of, came home, threw them in the closet, never wore them again. Like, my heart broke when I read this. It took everything I had. And all that to say, this young man's family buried him. This young girl's family buried her because of bullying. And I'm like, if you are hitting that many home runs and you're throwing that hard, these kids are obviously jealous of what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Most likely. And I don't know that, but maybe it was other baseball kids. I don't know. But I've seen this. I mean, I've seen this with many kids. I've seen kids be bullied. I've seen kids doing the bullying. It's brutal. I remember growing up and being bullied in 7th grade. There was this kid who just wouldn't stop messing with me, 6th and 7th grade. And I was little. And him and his cronies, there was like 3 of them. They'd always walk through the hallway. It reminded me of a Christmas Story. These kids would always just bully me. And this one dude, the other dudes would never say anything, but this dude always just kind of got out my face. So one day, they got me in his back hallway, and I just had enough. I threw my backpack down. I was like, bro, let's go. And I'm not saying this is the right answer, but I had enough. He's like, man, you ain't worth it, right? He walks away. After that, high five every day. Cool, man, cool.
Oh, wow.
I think we're friends on Facebook now. Unfortunately, this isn't the situation because a lot of times now you get home and it doesn't stop. You got cell phones, you got internet, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got TikTok, whatever it may be. These kids can't escape it. And I think that you take the social world they've grown up in with the COVID they've come through and the stress they're living in. I'm just afraid that this is going to increase even more. I mean, you very rarely would hear of back in the day of kids killing themselves, committing suicide.
Yeah.
You hear about it every week now.
Yeah.
People are mean.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a kid that's bullying, what has created such an insecurity in your life that you have to tear up other people? I would say your parents are the same people.
Mm.
They're rude, they're mean, they're disrespectful. If you got a kid that bullies people, then you're smart mouthing your kid. You're bullying your kid. You can't tell me the 13-year-old's got the nicest parents and good parents and just trashing people. I don't buy it, man.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that wants these parents to be held accountable for kids that are bullying.
Yeah.
Like a 13-year-old kid or 11-year-old kid, if these kids are bullying, like when are the parents held accountable for this crap? That's what I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is it just, well, it's the kids. Kids are 11, 12, 13. They can't even drive. They're created by something. Saying, well, you can't blame all the parents. Well, why not? Why can't the parents have some level of responsibility for kids that are, if you have bullied a kid to the point of suicide in a bathroom, or if you've bullied a kid, they said when they picked this young man up from school, he was smiling, he was good, he was going to go with his dad and his friends and hit at the baseball field at 4:30 that day. His mom came into the room and saw that he had taken his life and just lost it, obviously. And she told her husband, you got to come home right now. I want to know why can't we hold people accountable for this? If there's kids and they have listed names of kids bullying them, why can't, I'm not saying they're going to jail for murder as the parents, but there should be some level of accountability for these kids that are trashing other children. I think sometimes you can treat them like crap in your home and then you send them to school and they treat other kids like crap and they're, no, if you can't control yourself in your home and it's creating that in your children and they're going and doing that to other children, like where's the accountability in our culture?
Yeah.
This has got to stop, man. It frustrates me. It infuriates me. I'm reading this kid's stats and I'm thinking he batted 400 this season. I'm reading this kid's stats. I'm like, he was a phenom. He had a dream of playing for the Cardinals and taking care of his parents financially to where they never had to worry about anything the rest of their life. And you know what? At 13, he might have been a bigger kid in their opinion and made fun of him because of his size or his weight. I coach these kids. They grow 6 inches in 4 months sometimes.
Yeah.
If this kid has that level of athleticism, who knows? Who knows where he could go with it? I mean, I know he's 13. My point is, this got to stop, man. Yeah. Like, why are we in a society? I know that just recently there was a shooter that got charged. His parents got charged for him doing the shooting because of some things that happened in his upbringing. Parents can't be responsible for everything their kids do, but parents can take responsibility when their kids are still in their home.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
It's just tough to hear.
It's frustrating. I get sick of dealing with it sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're thinking, why are people so mean? What is that? If you're bullying somebody, you're insecure and jealous of that person. Or trying to impress somebody around you.
Yeah.
And if we don't teach our kids this, who will? Well, the problem is you see it in adults. You watch reality TV, or you have people around you that they want to control or manipulate in a certain way, or people in the workspace, whatever it may be. Adults, if your kids are bullying, I would venture to say maybe they're being bullied at home. I'm throwing down on the families here because I'm thinking, how are the parents get off scot-free when their kids are driving kids to take their own life? Now, at the end of the day, that kid's the one who did it. I get it. But you have a 13-year-old leaving a video that says, I hate my life. 13-year-olds should be riding their bikes, hanging out with their friends, going to the store to get candy. They shouldn't be taking their own life and saying, I hate my life, especially when they're incredible athletes. Now, I don't know what this kid was. I don't know his personality. The article was praising him as a personality. I don't know if it was some self-inflicted stuff. I don't know. I'm not blaming that. I'm not saying that. I'm not going that far. I'm just saying, when is the accountability? When do we step in and hold parents accountable for the ways kids are being bullied in school? If your kid is constantly being the bully, maybe you're the problem. How is that not fact? Well, kids just choose what they want. They ain't 18. These are kids.
Yeah. What
have they grown up in to where they're bullies?
Yeah. No, there's a level. I mean, my perspective as a parent too, there's a level of, I 100% feel responsible for my child. You know, I have a 10-year-old, but even at 13, like, yeah, no, I feel responsible for my child. I'm still helping them develop. I'm helping them grow. We're instilling morals in their lives, and sure, they're going to make mistakes, but gosh, that's a big one. You know, bullying to that extreme.
And why did nothing happen? Why is nobody doing anything?
Yeah.
I just feel like there has to be more accountability. And I know that schools will tell you, well, it happens to everybody. Well, why is that acceptable? Like, why is that acceptable? I've created organizations, I've run programs, I've created programs, and you can have a zero tolerance policy for things and enforce it and create a culture.
Yeah.
But the culture, well, it's just too hard. Is it? I don't think that it is. I think we can create a culture that doesn't put up with it. I think there's just too much going on. A lot of people don't have the time, and I think the parents aren't being held accountable for this.
I mean, what if bullying, you have the story of the girl that multiple times told the administration, what if bullying was like, hey, you bully, you get expelled?
If we have proof.
Yeah.
Or if we see it on a camera in our hallway, because they got them.
Exactly.
They looked at a camera for this girl that committed suicide. They looked at the one that was going to the bathroom to make sure nobody was in there when she did it, to say there wasn't somebody who helped her or caused it. They said there was no foul play. They have cameras.
Yeah.
You can, I know you can't prove necessarily things through that. I'm just saying, if you have the same people talking about the same kid doing the same bullying, you can go to jail based on somebody's testimony. So I would think you can get suspended based on somebody's testimony if it's repeated with other people.
Yeah.
There just has to be some level of accountability because it's bad.
Yeah.
You know?
And a view too that we live in a world where sometimes I think as adults your thought process is like, oh, well, they wouldn't do something like that. It's not the world we live in.
Not the world we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is. And a lot of parents, there are definitely those parents who say, well, that's not my Johnny. Well, I'm telling you, Johnny did it. And this kid just took his life and told you Johnny did it. That's been bullying him. So you can go to jail for texting somebody and saying you should take your life.
Yeah.
Because of a comment. But yet when you're bullied for months or years on end and somebody takes their life, there's no accountability. I want to know how that works. I want to know, that's a double standard in our system.
Yeah.
You should be held accountable for mistreating. It's, you know how they talk about grooming, right? Sexual predators, they groom. It's casual conversations and it's things that they're asking. It's like slowly working their way into the emotions of that person, right? Getting them to a place they want them to be. How is that not the same thing when you're a bully and you're saying things to that person, you're tearing them down and you're ripping them apart and you're doing it daily on end?
Yeah.
Maybe your end goal wasn't for them to take their life, but why would you bully somebody unless you weren't trying to make their life miserable? So I want to know, if you're grooming somebody to be a sexual predator or if you're bullying somebody and they end up killing themselves, somebody help me draw the line in the sand and see the difference.
Yeah.
Both are destruction of life, right? I just think we have such a double standard in our society and we have human wisdom that makes no sense. We're not that intelligent when it comes to some of this stuff because we need God. We need godly wisdom.
Yeah.
People need to be held accountable. It's that simple. Final thought.
Here's my final thought.
All right. So we talked about this a couple of podcasts ago. We talked about tipping and how everywhere you go, everybody's asking for a tip these days. And, like you, I'm like, come on, man. Can somebody get some help here? Can employers pay their employees and we just pay the amount? So when you're sitting there and there's this high school kid and you have the option to tip and they look at you and you're thinking, of course I want to help them pay for their car insurance. Like, yeah, I want to help you out. But when is it going to end? Well, I read an article and it said tipping in the United States has gotten out of control. They must have listened to the podcast.
We're changing society.
Society is on its head. It said tipping in the United States has gotten out of control. 1950s. Do you want to guess the percentage of the tips?
I don't know. I would guess low, maybe.
All right, give me a number.
Yeah. 2%.
Okay, that's not right, but it's 10.
Oh, wow.
10%.
Okay.
So I was impressed. I was like, 10% is pretty good.
Whoops.
In the 1970s and 1980s, it was 15%.
Okay.
In 2023, it's ranging from 15 to 25%. They call it tipflation. It's got a name now.
Yeah.
At every opportunity, we are being presented with a tablet that's asking how much we like to tip. We've gone over this, so all of you are well schooled in this. It says, but the pandemic put more pressure on tipping. We know this to be true, right? So in February of 2020, the share of transactions when tipping was offered was 43%. That was 2020, right before the pandemic. So whenever the transactions were reported, the share was of the tipping was 43%. So 43% was the tips. In 2023, the share of the tips was 74.5%.
Man.
So I wish I could give you help in this, but it says there has to be a logical ceiling somewhere. We just don't know where it is. Yeah. They said it will level off. We don't know where it is. So I don't have a problem when restaurants automatically add a tip in. I usually tip more than the 20 or right at it. And so a lot of people, they'll be like, why already put your tip in? You're like, well, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I'll just sign the thing. But there's also that level where people are, and I know you can give above, but there's also that level where, I think there's a responsibility of the employers to pay the employees because we're basically taking out that middle thing and just paying. And I guess that's what it is. Like it's coming to the consumer. Yeah. But hey, tipflation's a real thing. And listen, take care of your servers. Take care of those people around you. I don't say you have to tip at every kiosk and every tablet, but take care of the people that are serving you. Make sure you show them that you appreciate them. We all need each other, and so let's take care of one another.
It's good advice.
It's great advice.
Great advice.
All right, love y'all. Let's pray. Lord, we need you. God, we thank you for all that you are. I pray for every person. I pray for every trial. I pray for every tragedy. I pray for every heart that's broken. But I pray for everybody who's experiencing great joy as well. I pray they would know that you provide that joy and that you are the joy. And the joy, Lord, is our strength. We love you. We thank you. In Jesus' name, everybody said, amen. Hey, love you guys. We'll see you next week right here on the Brandon Shank Podcast.